Hey, it's Mr. Native Survival. Tonight we're going to go over our sleep setup. Stay tuned. Alright, so for this first setup, I'm going to be laying down on the ground next to my fire. So I want to remove all the debris, little sticks and twigs and things, so I don't feel them, I'm not laying on them. Alright, so now I'm going to unfold my blanket, of course. Alright, so here's my wool blanket, and I have it right next to my fire. I'm probably a foot, maybe a foot and a quarter off of it. Now, the distance that I use depends on the temperature. So basically, the colder it is, the closer I am to my fire, up until about this distance, about a foot. I usually never go closer than a foot because it's just so hot. Now also, the length and shape of my fire changes with the temperature as well. You know, in the summer I have a very, very small fire, and it's really just for smoke, and its only purpose is basically to ward off mosquitoes. Now, when it's colder, like right now we're in the winter, and it gets to 0 degrees, sometimes colder, sometimes 30 degrees below zero. You know, that's 60 degrees below freezing. It's pretty cold. You know, right now it's hovering around mid-30s, so it's really not too bad. But, you know, when it's in the teens and I sleep out, which happened last time I was out with my buddies Sarge Farrier and Fox Walker. It was, I don't know, I think it was something like 17 degrees out. We built our fire so it was at least half as long as we were laying down. You know, and we were each on the sides of the fire. You know, you can fit 4 guys around a fire that's properly sized, and you each basically have your own side. So the key is to make your fire wide enough so it's at least half your width, and I have it be right in my core. So we're talking right around like my knees to like my neck is the width of my fire. Okay, and it's pretty much a square. We used a log cabin fire. It works very well. My buddy Sarge turned me on to that one last time we were out. I've used it before to boil water and things, but it really came to its own at night when it was really cold. It really kept us warm because it just kept a huge ember base that was open right to us. You know, I mean, it was insanely warm. You know, here it is 15, 16, 17 degrees out, and, you know, there's frost everywhere and everything's frozen, and, you know, you keep your cup more than a foot, foot and a half from the fire, and, you know, your coffee freezes cold, right? And I mean, I was smoking hot, you know. I got cold enough to put socks on because I wasn't even wearing socks in my wool blanket, you know. I used my my wool scarf as my pillow. That's usually how I sleep at night. I just lay inside my wool blanket, and I use my scarf as a pillow, and snuggle up to the fire, you know. This is the easiest, most convenient way to sleep outside for me. This is a very convenient sleep setup. You sleep next to your fire, and you make it wide, make it as wide and big as you need to, depending on the temperature, and you want to make sure that it's heading towards your core. Now, another thing that I do is that I always keep the blanket completely covered up into my my neck, right at my jawline, and I keep the bottom there as a barrier for me and the ground, but I keep the rest folded over me, so my head's right here, and I put my face towards the fire. I face the fire, and my face is just wicked warm, you know, it's really cooking, and it feels really, really great, you know, because it's, you know, really cold out, but to me, I'm breathing warm air, I've got heat on my face, you know, it really feels awesome, you know, you just snuggle right up, and you just get that warm air in your face, and it also helps you know when the fire has died down like that while you're sleeping. You know, you might sleep 3 hours, and all of a sudden, your face isn't quite as warm as it was, and you open your eyes and the fire is dying down. So then you just reach over to where you have your firewood stacked up next to you and just lay on 3-4 more logs depending on their size, and you just fall right back asleep. Absolutely beautiful. So I like sleeping right next to my fire, and with the heat right on my face, keeps me nice and warm. I like to make it wide enough so it's at least half as wide as me, half my length in width. So it keeps me nice and warm. I mean, it's warm, you know. I really don't care what temperature it is. You know, if your fire is big enough and you're close enough, it's irrelevant, right? And if you've had your fire going all day, this whole area, a couple feet around your fire, if it's really cranking, you know, at least the first 2 feet is dry. So it's not like I'm laying down on, you know, cold, wet ground or anything like that. So it's no worries, you know, throw a little blanket down, and I'm good to go. Alright, so there's many sleep setups that can be used. This is just one that works really well when the ground isn't overly soaked or covered in snow. Alright, that's been Mitch from Native Survival. Appreciate your views, comments, and your support. See you guys in the next one. Take care.